Hi there, Neil Whitfield here with another small business marketing tips video. Today is day 34, just about a third of the way through. And today's tip is the first in the social media marketing section, which I'm sure will be of interest to a lot of you watching. Now, today's tip, which for those of you who need reminding, is from a list which I found from a website called thebalance.com. In their small business marketing section, they've got a list of 101 small business marketing tips. And I'm going through from 1 to 101, expanding on each of their very brief points every day. So today's video could be incredibly long, or it could be quite brief, because it is get started with social media for business. Now, I obviously know what comes next in the next few days on the list, so I don't want to start talking too much here about things that we'll cover off on later videos, but I'm going to keep this quite brief, and I will advise you to think about the basics and the fundamentals. So, start with social media for business. What is it? Get started with social media for business. You really need to start by thinking about your target audience, and on a very basic level, think whether your target audience is consumer or whether your audience is business. If your audience is business, then that might lead you to think more along the lines of LinkedIn than Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat and that sort of thing. But it's absolutely true that people with a business-to-business audience can use those latter sites to get the message out there, because they can offer some great targeting. But think about your target audience, because one thing's for certain, social media can be a fantastic way to eat up a lot of your time. And what I'd strongly recommend is you think about your audience and think about which of the sites is going to be most appropriate for them. The analogy I often use is, you're unlikely to be successful if you try targeting your 90-year-old great granny using Snapchat. It's just not a social media site or app that is used by that age range and demographic. So, as always, start by spending some time thinking about your target audience. I would strongly suggest you think about focusing on one or at most two social media platforms, and concentrating your activity there so that you become a regular contributor, a regular poster, a regular feature on one or two platforms, rather than spreading yourself very thinly and trying to post and contribute on everything. Once you have established yourself on one platform, by all means, go and have a look at another one that's relevant to your target audience, but get known and liked and trusted and established on one or at most two. Otherwise, you're going to spread yourself too thinly, you're going to dilute your message, and it's not going to be particularly successful. I think the various different social media sites offer different levels of sophistication when it comes to businesses getting messages out there. Some of them are very good and sophisticated, others less so. I would imagine the majority of them that aren't too great at the moment will only get better. The ones that don't have a particularly robust sort of paid ads facility will get better, because obviously that's the key way that those sites can fund themselves. Clearly Facebook is head and shoulders above all of them in terms of uptake and reach and the sophistication of their ads platform. But that's not to say the world begins and ends with Facebook. As I said, for a business to business audience, LinkedIn can be very powerful. I think, as I might have mentioned on a previous video, people tend to underuse the power of LinkedIn. Even the free version, there's a lot of powerful targeting and selection tools that you can use to refine who you potentially want to connect with, and a lot of people just scratch the surface, and then of course you can get even more sophisticated when you start paying for the upgraded accounts. So as the series goes on, we're going to be talking about the specific platforms: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, etc. But I would strongly suggest, before you go off thinking that you've got to be visible on all of them, I would strongly suggest you do a bit of thinking time and find out and work out which ones are going to be the best ones for you. What I would do, though, is even if you're not going to be using, let's say, for example, if you just don't think Instagram or Pinterest or something like that is for you, what I would do is I would still create profiles on pretty much all of the accounts at day one. And the reason for that is you don't know how trends will change, how usage will change. What might not be the number one site now may well develop over time. It's the Friends Reunited and MySpace examples that they were dominant, they now aren't at all. So what I would suggest you do, even if you are thinking about concentrating on just one or two sites, set up your accounts and your profiles across all of them. And what I would try to do, if you can, is have a consistent name or handle across all of them, so that when you are writing all your various social media account details on any printed material or on your website or something like that, there is consistency of what the names are for your accounts. So even though you might just be using one or two and concentrating on those, have a look at the main players, and just a quick Google search will be able to tell you the most popular social media platforms at any given time, because I'm conscious you might be watching this video in several years. So the most popular one might not be invented in 2018 when I'm recording this. So do the thinking time to work out which one is going to be best for your product and your target audience, but set up your accounts in advance so that you've got the consistency of your account details across all of them. I'll leave it at that, because we are going to go into more depth with each platform for now, but hopefully that's given you a couple of pointers for what you should do to start the process. And I will talk to you tomorrow when it's all about setting up a Facebook business page. See you. Bye.